Hello, welcome back to the show. Just be grateful that I don't sing on here. So, today I'm answering a super common question, one that I've asked myself a million times, like a million. And that is the very simple question of how do I know, how can I discern between something feeling new and scary, a little bit uncomfortable, maybe a lot of bit uncomfortable, or is it out of alignment? This question came in specifically from our coaching over texting about a week ago. So, if you didn't know, we are offering coaching over texting, which is totally free for the US or only available for the US, I should say, and totally free, where you can text me on Tuesdays to 973-358-7836, and you can ask me any question. Any question, nothing is off the books, off the table. I can't promise that I'll answer everything, but you can ask me anything that you want. Entrepreneurship, leadership, mindset, business strategy, building, scaling a team, a company, retiring your spouse, being a dog mom, whatever it is that you want. You can ask me those questions, and I am answering 10 of you. So the first 10 people that ask questions, I voice memo back, I answer, we chit chat back and forth in text message. And this question came in, and I just said, you know what? This is too good to not talk about on the pod. So here we are. How can you discern between something that is new and uncomfortable, or is it out of alignment? Gosh, how many times have you come up against something that you wonder the same thing? I know for me, it happens all the time. You sit in this unknown of discomfort, of fear, of uncertainty, and you go back and forth ping ponging in your brain, in your heart, in your head, in your gut. Is this new and scary? Is this out of alignment? And how do I know? So, as always, I'm only going to tell you from my experience what I do, what I believe, what works for me. I am definitely not a doctor. I am not a psychologist. I have no idea if this is right or wrong. I don't believe in right or wrong. Well, of course, there are some things that are right or wrong, but this is just what I do. So, let's dive in. I think for me, when I'm trying to discern between anything, it really comes back to how well do I know myself? And man, that's taken a long time, and I'm not even there yet. So I share my age on here all the time. I don't know why it just comes up, but it's taken me 38 years, that's how old I am, to get here. And here is, I feel like I'm just starting to get to know myself. Truly. Like I'm just starting to kind of crack the code on myself. And that's crazy. I've heard that from people. As you get older, you get more attuned to who you are, and hopefully you learn more about yourself. And you certainly become, I think, a little bit less caring of what others might think of you, which is why there's this sort of generalization that older men in their 80s and men and women in their 80s and 90s, they kind of don't care what other people think. They just say whatever off the cuff. It's not always correct, or thoughtful, but it's just in knowing yourself. So for me, the easier that it's been, or the easier that it's become, that I can make these decisions or discern between what is maybe uncomfortable, what is out of alignment, just like any other decision I'm making. It really is, it's stemming from the core of, do I know myself, and how well do I know myself? I've shared this before on a couple podcasts. Recently, I was doing an interview with someone and I shared on there. So you may have heard this before, but I have been practicing meditation for over 10 years, meditation, journaling, breathwork for over 10 years. And we lived in New York City for many years. We left in 2020, and it was the first time that I felt like I could hear myself. Y'all, I was like meditating an hour a day in silence with myself and my thoughts, breathing and meditating. And when we left New York City and we got into the RV and started traveling around the country, it was the first time that I really heard my own thoughts. And that was hard. It was scary. It was uncomfortable. I don't think I know I didn't like everything that I heard. But it's crazy because I thought that I had been practicing that. I thought that I knew myself. And it just goes to show that really, until we're sitting in silence, until we're sort of in solitude, until we quiet the noise around us, we most likely aren't hearing ourselves. We most likely aren't fully connected with ourselves. I'm not talking about being connected to source or universe or God or whatever that might be. I'm talking about being connected to yourself. And so after all these years, I thought that I had known what I thought. Did you hear me? I thought that I knew what I thought. but I didn't. And what I started recognizing was a lot of my thoughts were other people's thoughts. Now, amplify that 10,000 times over because I am an empath through and through. In my human design chart, 7 of my 9 channels are open. I am a freaking sponge. I don't just absorb other people's feelings, emotions, and energy. I absorb other people's thoughts, as many of us do. And many of us carry around other people's thoughts and beliefs as though they are ours. This is literally what happens with parenting and teachers, right? The news, we hear things, we think things, they make sense, we see evidence, and so it is. And it becomes our thought, or so we think. And so when you're looking at something like, how do I know if this is discomfort or if this is out of alignment? The first step is knowing yourself. I think the first step for everything is self-awareness, right? We say it all the time. Self-awareness is key. But there's 3 pieces here. There's the self-awareness, then there's the acceptance, and then there's the action. And so before we can even have the discussion of discomfort versus out of alignment, or comfort versus alignment, it's really, how well do you know yourself? How well can you hear yourself? How well have you created your own thought patterns? Are they yours? Let's start discerning that first. What is mine? What is not? What is here to stay? And what do I want to rid of? Right? Take what you want, leave the rest. So sitting with that first is the most important thing. Now, from there, I think and feel in my experience that discomfort, stretchiness, right? Get in the rooms that stretch you and expand you, and it should feel a little scary, and take the leap and grow your wings and all these things. In my experience, those moments, those spaces, those containers, those actions also came with like this little flutter of excitement, this little tinge of curiosity, this little wave of intrigue. And so for me, the discomfort, the, oh my God, this is new, it's scary, I'm uncomfortable, I feel like I'm going to puke, my stomach is flipped upside down in knots, also comes with, but I'm kind of excited and I'm kind of curious. I'd really like to know. I can't stop thinking about it. I just wonder what's on the other side. So for me, when I'm looking at something and going, okay, is this uncomfortable because it's new and stretchy, or is this uncomfortable because it's out of alignment? If it's coming with this buffet of interest, curiosity, excitement, overwhelm, wonder, then it usually means it's discomfort because I haven't been there. You know, readiness is a lie. So many of us are waiting to be ready. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. We say it all the time. I'm not even talking about like, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources. No, we just say, I'm not ready. When I'm ready, I'll do it. But ready is an illusion. Ready does not exist. The only time that we're ever ready is when we've done it. Did you hear me? The only time that we're ever ready is when we've done it. Readiness is kind of like confidence. It comes from taking action. So the more that we do something, the more ready we feel. Ready is a feeling of preparedness. So when I've done this before, when I've walked this path, when I've taken these actions, whether or not they did what I wanted them to do, they yielded the result I wanted them to yield, they felt easy, felt hard, none of that matters. It's just I've simply been here before. Well, now it doesn't feel as scary. It doesn't feel as uncertain. And so we only feel ready when we've already done it. Isn't that ironic? We only feel ready when we've already done it. It doesn't matter how it went. It just is that ready is an illusion. And so when we can remove readiness from this perception of like a place we want to get to, a place that we're trying to conquer before we take action, we have it backwards. And myself included. We all have it backwards. The readiness and the confidence comes from the action, right? Action breeds confidence. Confidence builds clarity. Clarity also comes from contrast. So when you do something, you like it or don't like it. It worked or it didn't work. And so by doing, you figure out the clarity of what's better, what's next, which path, what choice. And so I know we're talking today about, is it discomfort or is it alignment? But this is really important for you to understand. So when you're doing something, when you're trying something, when you're thinking about something new, like signing up for a mastermind, getting into a room that stretches you, saying yes to an opportunity, asking somebody out on a date, finally getting the gym membership, whatever it might be, is it coming also with some excitement and wonder and curiosity and play and intrigue? And yeah, maybe a little overwhelm. But understand this, you're feeling the uncertainty and overwhelm because you haven't been there, because you haven't done it. And realize that excitement and fear are very closely related. Excitement and fear are very closely related. When we look at the scale of emotions in our body, the response that gets triggered is basically the same for fear and excitement. It is the same, actually. So what happens to your central nervous system is exactly the same, whether it's fear or excitement. And so just even a reframe when you say things like, I'm nervous. Well, what if you reframed it and you said, I'm excited? I'm really excited for the unknown. I'm really excited that I'm about to stand on stage and talk to 50,000 people. And I feel like I'm going to puke, because those emotions can live together. They can live in the same room. They can live in the same body. So what if we just shifted nervous and fear to excitement? Because that is literally the energy within your body. It is the same thing. So the discomfort for me comes with a platter of, curiosity and intrigue and all these words, like I said. Now, alignment or out of alignment is usually going to come with a pretty heavy feeling inside of me. Whether for you, it might be your gut or it might be your intuition. I discern those as different things. I don't know if you do. I don't know if that's right or wrong. But for me, a gut feeling is like really in my stomach. It's deep, it's low, it's in the pit. My gut feeling is something that I quite literally feel in my body. A heaviness, a resistance, a stopping. Not an excited, nervous butterflies, like something's off. Intuition to me is more in the heart and the head. And I don't know if that's real, but that's how I feel it. Intuition to me is more of like a quick download, a quick message. Don't do that. That's not a good choice. Don't go down the alley, right? It's like, that's a bad idea. So for me, the gut is more of a feeling and the intuition is more of a hearing or a sound or even a visual. Not a good idea. Stop. So for me, when something is out of alignment, I need to check back in with my body. And if I'm go, 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 busy, 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 loud noises, lots of people, super stressed, work, 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 I can't feel my body. Just like when I was in New York, and I'm not blaming New York, I'm blaming the 36 years of conditioning at that moment, but I couldn't hear my own thoughts. I couldn't feel my body. I didn't. I was go, 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 get out of my way, New York City, right? Like, again, I'm not blaming New York. I lived in New Jersey and it was the exact same thing. I lived in Rhode Island and it was the exact same thing. Go to class, go to this, go to that, next thing, activity, go waitress, go bartend, next thing, work on your side hustle, move, go, 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 get out of my way. That was the world that I was living in. I very much still am living in that world. We all are. It's very fast paced. Gosh, a text message comes through and there's this innate response to just even respond right away. It's not even a pressure. It's just like, boom, have to respond. Came in, gotta respond. We don't, but we do. We don't have to, but we want to, right? So when I'm thinking about alignment, it's again, knowing myself and being able to discern my own feelings, but really sitting in, hold on. Let me sit with this for a second. Let me get quiet for a second. Let me stop moving for a second so I can hear and feel myself. Intuitively, I'm probably going to know if this is not the best choice or the best path. And the funny thing is, for me, there's usually a because after. Just no, because XYZ. Just not a good idea. Because if you do, then da 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 da. So it really is about quieting and slowing down. And this is mine. You can borrow it. I don't know if this is right. This is just how I figure out between, is this new and scary or is this not the path? Is this really my central nervous system and my ego doing its job, screaming at me, saying the saber-toothed tiger really is going to get you? Because here's where the confusion lies. Our bodies are set up for this, fight or flight. And we don't know the difference when the chemicals are going crazy inside of our bodies and our central nervous system fires and wires to go into fight or flight. Its only job is to keep us safe. And so our body doesn't necessarily know in the moment, hey, it's not a saber-toothed tiger. You were just going to go live on Instagram. But the feeling that we get is the same. The chemical reaction, the things going on inside of our body is the same, whether it's the saber-toothed tiger or the going live on Instagram. So it really is the mind where we need to slow down and the body where we need to check in. Wait a minute. Thank you, ego. Thank you, self. Am I safe here? I am safe here. I'm okay. This is just uncomfortable. It's not dangerous. And the slower and the quieter and the more solitary I can get, the easier it is for me to hear and feel those things. And like anything, when I put the reps in to feeling and seeing and hearing it, well, it becomes easier. So I don't need to sit as long. I don't need to get as quiet because I can sort of feel it faster and I can recognize my own self and I can recognize patterns in my life as well. So the last thing that I want to end with is knowing your core needs and knowing sort of your core values. So Tony Robbins teaches the 6 core needs that at any given moment, we have these 6 things relevant and prevalent in our life. And these things are contribution, so a sense of service, helping, giving, growth, which is expansion, capacity, understanding, learning, connection or love, which is a feeling of closeness or union with other people, significance, which is a feeling of uniqueness or importance, often coming from awards and accolades, a feeling of uncertainty or variety. This is huge. Not everybody likes uncertainty or variety, or so they think, but it is just part of our everyday. This is actually the need for unknown, the need for change, the need for stimulus. This is the need for adventure. Even if you're a quote unquote homebody, every now and again you're like, I just need to change it up. That's the need for uncertainty. And then the 6th one is certainty. So this one is to avoid pain. This one is to gain pleasure. This is security. This is safety. Knowing this about yourself and which are the most important for you is huge. This is part of the self-awareness journey. What I've learned over the years is that I actually love uncertainty. That's why I was so unhappy in my old life, in my old job. I don't shit on it. I love my old job. I credit teachers out there. My gosh, I give you so much credit. But for me, the job of being a teacher working in a public school, it felt like a merry-go-round or a Ferris wheel. It was the same thing year after year, month after month, semester after semester. It's the volleyball unit. I was a phys ed teacher. It's the volleyball unit. It's the basketball unit. It's back to school night. It's the book fair. It's the assembly. And I didn't like the certainty. It was very boring to me. But I will tell you, as an entrepreneur, sometimes I do miss the certainty of the paycheck, but it wasn't enough to keep me there. I thrive in variety. I thrive in uncertainty. Now, I've talked about it so many times. Significance used to be my core driver. And if it's your core driver, if you're anything like me, where that sort of control and perfectionism and awards and accolades, if that's your driving force, lots of Enneagram 3s out there, right? Like me, it could be a dangerous place to live because you're always chasing the next thing. And you can have gratitude for the things that you have and what you've done, but it still doesn't feel like enough. And that's a really hard place to be. So when you know yourself and you kind of know these core values for yourself, these core needs, you can then come up with your own core values as a person. And then when you're making decisions, check back in. So this is what we do with our company. We have 7 core values for the company: integrity always, impact driven, growth minded, compassionate leadership, cultivating community, playing in the dirt, and holding the door. And those last 2, they kind of are double entendres. They mean a couple different things. But when we make a decision for the company, we always go back to the core values. Is this in alignment with our mission, our vision, and our values? And then it makes making decisions really easy. So when you're coming up to the place of, is this discomfort or is this out of alignment? We can go back to our core values and check in with ourselves there. And the very last thing that I will say is just kind of another layer to all of this is I always start with the end in mind. What's the intention of this pivotal moment, of this decision, of this new opportunity, right? What's the intention? Let me reverse engineer it. Then I ask myself, why? Why this decision over that one? Let me go deeper. Why is it important to me? Why will this matter? Why will this matter for other people? Then I go into the meaning. What am I making this all mean about me? If I pick the quote unquote wrong decision, what am I making it mean? If I don't live up to my own expectations, what am I making it mean about me? Then it's about practicing, practicing, practicing. So every time I come to a decision like this, recognizing, is this something new or is this an alignment issue? And feeling it in my body, like I said. So I hope this was helpful. I hope I didn't confuse you anymore. But I guess the summary here would be, for me, what I do is when I'm trying to discern between, oh my gosh, this is so scary and new, I'm so uncertain, should I do it? Or is this a red flag, Jess, and it's actually out of alignment? I check in with, of course, how does it feel in my body? Where do I feel it? What am I hearing in my intuition and my gut? And most importantly, is it being driven by even the faintest little whisper of curiosity and intrigue and excitement? Because if it is, most likely it's just new. And it's always going to feel uncomfortable when it's new because we haven't been here before. And Jess, if you were ready, it would mean that you've done it before. And the only way to get ready is by doing it. So I hope this helped. I don't know if it did, but it was a fun episode to do. I am loving your questions that are coming in. So again, just a reminder, on Tuesdays, you can totally text me any question that you might have. I might answer it on the podcast. I might use it as inspiration to make a podcast. So thank you for whoever asked this question because it was so juicy. It's such a good topic. It's so important to talk about. And I'd love to hear from you. So text me at 973-358-7836. Again, that's for anybody in the US. You can shoot me a text on Tuesdays. I will answer the first 10 people that come in. It's really me. I send a voice memo. I text back and forth. We have a conversation. And I'm just so excited to chat with you because, like I always say, this is the stuff that I really love. This is why I got into coaching. This is why we're scaling the company, is because I just love being able to connect, being able to coach, being able to have conversations, and being able to be in a container with you that gets me thinking differently. So I am so grateful for all of your support. I can't wait to hear from you. 973-358-7836. And as always, cheers to your evolution.